This is Newsmax TV. I'm Ashley Martella. We're joined by Pennsylvania U.S. Representative Mark Critz. He's a Democrat who first won the seat of the late John Murtha in a special election in May. He was then elected for a full term on November 2nd, narrowly beating Republican Tim Burns. Congressman Critz describes himself as a social conservative who's pro-life, a defender of the Second Amendment, and a champion for the nation's veterans. Welcome to Newsmax TV, Representative.
Thank you, Ashley. Thank you very much for having me.
Tough election year for Democrats, but you held your seat. Some say you did it by running to the right of your GOP opponent. What do you think put you over the top?
Well, I don't think I ran to the right of my GOP opponent, but I ran as a Western Pennsylvania Democrat. I mean, as you described, we're socially conservative. We're conservative on most issues, and I think the people of the district know who I am. They know the work that I've done over the past several years and know that I'm going to tell them exactly what I believe, and I'm going to do exactly what I believe.
House Democrats voted to make outgoing Speaker Nancy Pelosi the minority leader, a move that you did not support. Tell us why you broke ranks.
Well, you know, I'm a football guy. You know, we were talking about the Steelers earlier. When you have a season like we had earlier, you know, what happened on November 2nd, I think that the coaching staff has to go, you know, and I'm a small businessman. So, you know, if your company performs as we did, I think you get rid of management and you go a new direction. I think that the people of Western Pennsylvania want a new direction in the Democratic leadership, and that's what what I supported, a change in direction.
Many of your fellow moderate Democrats won't be back, but should the Democrat leadership be looking to those of you who remain for help in compromising with Republicans?
Well, at this point, the Republicans have such a majority in the House of Representatives that, you know, the Democratic leadership coming to moderates like me to compromise with the Republicans, I'm not sure if that'll be an issue. I think that in the Democratic Party, we need to look at the way forward. You know, if you look through the Rust Belt states, of which Pennsylvania, Ohio, Indiana, Illinois, you know, a lot of very blue-collar Democratic districts went Republican this year, and I think it's something that we have to assess and we have to do a better job.
You are against President Obama's new health care law, but if Republicans bring up a bill to repeal it or defund it, would you be on board with them?
Well, I said during the campaign that I wasn't for repealing it. You know, one of the things that we have to do is use it as a jumping off point. You know, support the things that do work and get rid of the things that don't. And I think we need to evaluate it, see what's best what's in the best interest of the American public.
What about the mandatory purchase of personal health insurance?
Well, you know, I did support the repeal of the individual mandate. So, you know, it's one of those things that in piecemeal fashion, I think we do what's best for the people.
As a member of the House Small Business Committee, you probably hear concerns about Obamacare, but also about taxes. Now, outgoing House Majority Leader Steny Hoyer told Democrats last week they would be voting on legislation to keep tax rates where they are, only for families earning less than $250,000 a year. How would you vote on that?
Well, it's something that I talked about during the campaign. I support continuing the middle-class tax cuts up to $250,000 per household, and you have to remember the $250,000 is adjusted gross income. That's not the gross income, so it's actually much higher. That's what I support. I said that throughout my campaign that I would allow the tax cuts for people over that to expire. And you have to remember too that the proposal is that everyone gets a tax break up to that $250,000. So even people making more will get a tax break up to that amount. And you also have to remember too that you know, in the Recovery Act, there was a tax break for middle-class families, and that's about to expire at the end of this year too, and it seems that that's been lost in the debate.
What about small businesses who create most of the nation's jobs? They fear that a tax increase on them would not allow them to expand and create any more jobs.
Well, you know, the small businesses in my district are very small, very under 1% of individuals in the 12th Congressional District would be impacted by not continuing the tax cuts for over $250,000.
Now on to the WikiLeaks scandal. You're on the House Armed Services Committee. How badly does the latest round of WikiLeaks hurt the credibility of the U.S. around the world? And how much of a threat is the WikiLeaks organization to national security?
Well, you know, it's disturbing when you see some of the things that were leaked. You know, as I understand it, this is still part of the original package that this E2 was able to get access to. Obviously, we have to do a better job of securing our secret information. it does damage, obviously, and it's something that we have to rebuild. We have to show the world that this will not ever happen again, and people have to be brought to justice that did this.
Do you think Obama and his administration should have done more to prevent WikiLeaks from releasing the diplomatic documents?
Well, I really don't know exactly what steps they took, but certainly, WikiLeaks and the New York Times, which I saw did some printing of the material, they have to take into account, too, what this does to our national security. And you hope that at the end of the day, people will make a smart decision. I'm a little disappointed in some of the things that were leaked, but we have to do a better job going forward. We can't change the past.
There's public outcry over the new TSA rules for screening passengers, naked body scans, and/or aggressive pat-downs. Should those procedures be allowed to continue?
Well, in other countries where security is high, they do this very thing. So, we have to balance what's best for the safety of our passengers who are flying with the national security of this country.
So you support what Janet Napolitano is doing?
Well, I support having our airplanes be as secure as possible.
All right, now to that detainee tried in civilian court in the U.S. Embassy bombings in Africa. Not guilty on all but one charge, the verdict of the jury. Now, is civilian court the right place to conduct terror trials?
No, and I disagreed with this from the very beginning. I thought that, these are terrorists that should be tried. They were in Guantanamo. I think we should have left it there as a military trial. I was disappointed. And if you remember back when the Attorney General was being, for lack of a better term, grilled by a panel in the House or in the Senate, I believe it was, he said that not guilty was not an option. And, you can't do that in a trial. You can't guarantee an outcome. And I think what we saw was that you can't guarantee an outcome. I disagreed with this policy from the beginning, and I still do.
How can the Democrats make a comeback in 2012, and what would you advise them to do to keep in step with the American public?
Well, I think the Democratic Party at its core has always been about working men and women and listening to the public. And that's usually, one of our strengths and one of our weaknesses is that listening to the public across a country as diverse as ours is you get a lot of different opinions and you get a lot of different feedback on a single issue. But that's our strength, is listening to people. And I think we have to get back to doing what working men and women want us to do. And that's, work with the middle class to make this country stronger and to move forward.
Pennsylvania U.S. Representative Mark Critz, thanks so much for joining us, sir.
Thank you, Ashley.
And thank you for watching Newsmax TV.